Hello everyone and welcome to ESO Weekly for June the 14th. This is the Shotty Cast.
Yes.
I am Kyle.
I'm Josh.
Hello Josh.
Hey Kyle.
Okay, so we got a lot of information to go through. Since, unless you were living under a rock or don't know what E3 is, it's a very large gaming convention. Mainly for, developers talking to other developers and all that networking stuff and just showing off a lot of new information and what people are working on. So, of course, since we're an ESO show, we have a lot of ESO news to talk about. We will be covering, ESO releasing on consoles, of course, but we have more information on that, more than what we had released on our previous special edition episode we released earlier this week. We also have more info on mounts and other random goodies, including new beta invites going out. But I really wanted to read this quote first off before we do anything else, because I know a lot of people are really concerned about this whole console release thing, since ESO is going to be on PS1, PlayStation 4, and PC and Mac. So here's the quote. "PC is still untouchable. It's the PC," said Sage. "We're working to perfect UI and gameplay specific to the PC version of Elder Scrolls Online, and the console version will have its own UI and be more controller specific, but PC is going nowhere." So for those of you that were thinking like the PC version's going to end up being watered down because they're going to be releasing it on consoles as well, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. So
Right.
What do you think on that?
Well, I have to take them for their word, right? If that's what they say, I'm going to take it for their word, and once I get the hands on with the game, then I'll be able to judge for myself. For now, my mind's been put at ease, because that was a very legitimate concern people had, and I totally understood where they were coming from, because we've had examples of a game that has released for PC, but it's like a console version more than anything.
Time after time they release PC ports from console games, and a lot of the times they're terrible.
Exactly. It's best to think of this then as, because it was developed first and foremost for a PC.
Yes.
It's best to think of this as a then port over to the console. You know. So because that was the development mentality in mind when they set out to do this project to begin with. This console thing is a new development.
Yes. Because just keep in mind, this game's been in development for like 5 years now, and they had only just released information and stuff on the PS4 and Xbox One like a year ago is when they started announcing stuff. So, and the other thing there in that quote was consoles will have their own UI and will play easier with controllers, obviously.
I thought this was interesting because I thought the UI was already limited enough in the PC version of the Elder Scrolls Online, because what we were told is stamina bar, health bar, magicka, the classic, and then just a spell bar with 5 skills that don't even need to show up unless you're using them.
It's definitely very minimalistic, but you also got to remember the skill bar is not going to work with a controller. How are you going to select them? At least in that sense. So instead, they're probably going to replace that with some kind of pinwheel system where you hold down bumper and select what spell you want, and then launch it off.
Yeah, I would imagine that the skills would be, easily mapped to the D-pad, right? That's what it's called. I don't know. I'm not much of a console gamer, so I have a hard time with the console terms. But yeah, the D-pad.
Okay, so how do you think the console version will differ from PC besides UI? Are there any other things you think, the console version will be limited to?
I think that, because we have the whole reticle system where you're actually having to target things. I feel like they're going to do what they do in a lot of, first-person shooters with controllers and have a sort of more of a soft lock. We already know the PC is getting something of a soft lock with targeting and stuff. I think their soft lock will be made broader, at least easier to use with analog sticks.
So you're thinking the targeting won't have to be as dead on with controllers and on the console version?
Right, compared to the PC, yeah.
All right.
It's usually what happens.
Honestly.
Oh, I definitely hope they don't either.
They need to keep it still harder for the hardcore gamer and stuff. I'm also kind of considering you're very limited on memory with consoles. It's 250 gigabytes usually or something like that. I can't remember what the specs are on the new systems. But you also got to keep in mind how massive Elder Scrolls Online is going to be. All MMOs are just huge.
They are big.
And they just get bigger and bigger with more content added. So if like they're not utilizing some kind of cloud system where it can just instantly stream that information to you, then you're going to have to save all this to your hard drive. So that's also going to be a concern as well.
Right. Something the consoles, I mean, I'm guessing will definitely not have unless something changes, is the mods, right? Mods are something that PC gets, and what they've already confirmed is that they have that Luna thing, or Luna I think it's called, where people can make mods for the UI and stuff like that. The consoles, you're probably not going to see that, so it's very much of the same case with, games like Skyrim and Oblivion, where, hey, if you want to take advantage of the modding community, PC is where it's at. That's always been the case.
Next quote is, "The game will feature 3 separate server environments to ensure fairness in PvP across all systems, as those on PC and Mac will use a mouse and keyboard, while console users will have only a controller." So this has confirmed that there will be 3 separate mega servers, one for PC and Mac, one for PlayStation 4, and one for Xbox One. So this means that there won't be any of that cross-platform stuff. Is this a good or a bad thing for you?
I think, for me personally, it's a bad thing. I know I guess most people out there or something, they like the fact that they're going to be, like, there's a lot of PC gamers that, like, I don't want my game ruined by console gamers. And then I heard some console gamers, like, I don't want my game ruined by PC gamers. I've never really bought into that whole, PC console pride bullshit. But for me personally, it comes down to, I want to freaking play with my friends. And now that I know this game's coming out on consoles and we're going to be separated by servers, I'm going to have a very, very hard decision to make. And that's, do I want to play with the consoles in real life friends, or do I want to play on the PC with guildmates and stuff like that? And I'm really going to be torn between the two, which is tough because this was the Elder Scrolls game I was supposed to play with all my friends. You
could always end up doing both, but then that just means a lot more work since you'll have to be concentrating on 2 different platforms instead of just one.
Right.
I personally think this is going to be a good thing, more good than bad, because you got to think of balancing for PvP and stuff. It needs to be done because you can't have console people that have to do an extra step just to switch their spells and stuff and attack you, versus a person with their Razor Naga like we have with 15,000 buttons on the thing, and we can just instantly cast stuff and not have to worry about those extra steps. And not to mention the more precision you get with the mouse and stuff. So balancing, it makes sense that they're doing it this way. The other thing is the social aspect of the game. Think with PC and most MMOs, you have a chat system where you can easily just chat with anyone you want. Just type, and hit enter, and there you go. You're talking with people. You're not going to be able to do that with consoles. Now, there is the chance that they will allow you to plug in a keyboard and stuff. That kind of defeats the purpose to me, to have to plug in another peripheral besides your controller.
Yes.
In a console.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. That doesn't make too much sense to me. But
yeah, that's my biggest problem, and that's what's keeping me more than anything, I think, from playing on the consoles, is the fact that I won't be able to just go off and chat with somebody. Say you're in a dungeon and you need help from somebody, or it could be any number of things. You're going to trade something. It's so easy to just type on your keyboard something real quick, where you're just not going to get that sort of thing from a console. I'm sure they're going to try and compensate you with something else. One of the developers, I don't know what his name, was talking about the fact that if you walk up to another player, if you hold the button, there's this this pinwheel of options that show up. So maybe there's going to be quick ways to communicate like that.
But even
I don't know.
Then, it's still so limited.
Even then, it's going to limited is the best word to describe it. Yeah.
All right. So some other options they could use with this platform. They're probably dead set on what they're doing, but there are other options out there for them to do. And these have been used in the past. Now, one of them is to allow cross-platform play while in PvP, at least. Because then you don't have to worry about balancing issues, really. I mean, maybe in dungeons it might be a little iffy if you do have to worry about other console players out there that might not be as quick as people on PC. So maybe that'll drag your team down or something like that. But just out in the open world, why couldn't we play with PS4 players or Xbox One players?
Okay, I see what you mean. Just an open exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense, and that would solve a lot of the problems, because then I would be able to explore with all my friends and stuff like that. Would be great.
Yeah, and then once you got into Cyrodiil to do PvP, then you would be segregated.
Sure, and I could live more with that.
All right. Another option, though, would be to allow accounts to be cross-platform. So I have an account, but it's also transferable over to the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. And like, say you have a character list, all your characters on there, and underneath each character it says like which platform it's on. So I have Darturok is on PlayStation 4. And then also allow you to transfer those characters from platform to platform. Maybe limit it to like once a month or something like that. But that would allow you to keep your character progression, and say you find you have a lot more friends on another console or on the PC and you have it on a different platform, to be able to transfer that over to that platform where you have more friends.
I like that idea a lot. Why would we put a cooldown on it, though, for like a month?
Because you could have the issue where people will start transferring characters simply to like trade items that you know will have a higher sell value on a different platform than they do on the current platform.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, if you just allow people to do it anytime they wanted to, you might start seeing exploits.
Yeah.
So if you limit it, though, then, I mean, it wouldn't be cost effective to do something like that.
Yeah, I definitely see all these and I like them, but it's all really a pipe dream, because at the end of the day, it's going to be so much easier for the developers to just say, listen, they're separated, you know, because then there's so much logistics that goes into something like that.
I mean, that's probably what's going to end up happening, but we do know there's other games that do actually have cross-platform, and like the best example is Final Fantasy XI, which was an MMO that was cross-platform, and you could play your same character on the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and your PC. So we know it's possible. It has been done before, but it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that with ESO. So moving on, we will go over to the GameSpot interview with Paul Sage. There were quite a few tidbits of information in there. One thing, if you watched last week's episode, we were talking about horses and how you can feed them, and they will
feed the horses.
Yeah, depending on
carrots.
Depending on how you feed it, it'll like change things like how fast they run, how much stamina they have. Another thing, though, which was interesting, is that horses will be able to carry gear. So I guess they heard about that mod that allows you to use like pack horses and stuff.
Yeah, because we always saw our horses in like Skyrim had a bunch of packs and stuff on them, but they couldn't carry nothing. Yeah. And so a lot of people got upset about that, and obviously you make a mod for it. And so that's cool, very interesting. It'll be weird to see how that works, you know, so I can pull all my loot out of my dungeons by packing up my horse.
And basically just additional storage, and I guess how you feed it will determine how much space you have, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that as pretty much acting as your bank, you know.
Yeah. But still no word on mounted combat, which I just want a definitive answer. Is there going to be? Will there be eventually?
Has it been brought up to them and they've just been evading the question?
Haven't really. I've seen people answer it, but they haven't said anything about it.
Okay. I like mounted combat. I'm one of those people.
I liked when they added it like officially to Skyrim. That was cool.
Yep, and it's definitely been done in MMOs before.
And like I mentioned before, Paul Sage said that the devs are still working on the console very much, just getting features, up to date and stuff, and that's including a chat system. So I'm really wondering if they will eventually allow some kind of like voice chat system maybe just within your party. That would really help things out. Like you go into a party that's like entering a chat lobby, and you'd be able to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen like they had that in WoW and it was totally broken.
Yes.
But maybe they could make a version of that works, and
well, being that the consoles already support the voice chat system, then you think that would help it out.
There's no excuse not to have it, and that'll be a make or break for the consoles, is whether or not they do have that, because communication will be key.
Okay, now this is something interesting. I'm not sure if you had read this yet, but there's going to be a quote-unquote friendship bonus system.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, so sort of like the whole rings of matrimony ceremony thing, except it's not like marriage.
It's not marriage.
It's some kind of friendship thing where If you have a ring and you give the other ring to your friend and you quest together or just do stuff together, you get a bonus to XP.
Yeah. You know what I see this as? Because they didn't elaborate too much on it. I think this is their recruit a friend
Basically,
tool is exactly what it is. And he mentioned a cost for it.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if that is a real life cost, like dollars and cents, or if that's an in-game cost. But he said, because one of the questions asked is, can I do this with multiple friends? You know, can I team up with multiple friends and level up like this? And he said you could do that, but it would be costly. He used that word. It would get expensive. And yeah, that's yet to be seen whether or not that's a real life expense or not. We'll see.
Paul Sage also said that they are mainly focusing on keyboard and mouse, but Gamepad has not been ruled out for PC.
And I hope it's not, because like we were saying before, and a guy has said this in an interview, like you've already got it mapped out on consoles. How hard really would it be to map it out on a PC? And one of the arguments against it, I guess, would be, well, you know, obviously the console or the console controller that you'd be using on your PC is less competitive. Well, that's fine. Let it be my option, though. If I don't want to be as competitive and just use my controller for exploration and stuff like that, where I can lean back in my computer chair, and that's how I play my test games, and I would love to have that option.
That's how I play it too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do, and this would be something a lot of people would appreciate. So if you're one of those people, you know, let them know that.
Okay. And I just wanted to bring this up because I wasn't sure if I had brought this up before, but the whole the AVA PvP skill line things, which apparently there's 4 of now, you buy those or you invest in those with alliance points, not skill points. So they're separate from that sort of thing. So they won't take up your skill points. So the more AVA you do, the more alliance points you get, the more skills you can essentially unlock.
Okay, I see.
Okay. Still not sure if you can use those outside of PvP yet, though.
I'm guessing not. That would be something that's limited to PvP, I think.
Okay. Next bunch of facts is just from various sources. I'm not really sure where I got them all from because I had to pick apart a lot of different articles and stuff.
You had a fun week this week, didn't you, Kyle?
I actually did. I did enjoy it, even though most of it was just everyone's playthrough experience. Oh, I did this, and I was totally sucked in. This was awesome, and all this stuff. Which, yes, I'm sure it is, but I want information, not that kind of stuff. So first thing I do know is from ElderScrollsOnline.com. There are a new round of beta invites that have gone out this week. So if you are some of those lucky few, congratulations, and hope you guys enjoy yourself. Also, Nick Conkle mentioned in an interview with Mark Taylor, our friend from Guild Umbra and Game Skinny.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, had an interview with him, and Nick Conkle had said that first-person view will be in that build. So people will be allowed to test first-person. So that's a big step to know that it's now being tested.
Basically, you're rubbing the salt in every wound of the people that didn't get into the beta.
Pretty much.
So it's even worse now. And we actually had a poll this week of how many people are currently in the beta, and it was a poll that does not break NDA because it's totally anonymous, right? And yeah, not that many people in the beta right now. I guess that's what we can conclude from that poll.
Should I pull that up really quick?
It's just confirming the already suspicion. So.
Now, they still haven't announced the business model, but yeah, I'm just desperately pleading that they do not make this free to play. I don't see how they could, being that it's releasing on consoles. They're going to have to sell the game, right?
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to sell the game. I have no doubt about that. They could totally introduce a subscription model because there have been, and this has been confirmed now, that there are console games that exist that have paid subscriptions, which I didn't know in the previous episode we recorded. But apparently they don't do very well, paid subscriptions, at least the examples I was given from you guys. So I think the smart move would obviously not to have a paid subscription monthly.
I would like a paid subscription, and mainly it's just to keep the a-holes that just jump in there to cause issues because they can easily get in there.
Yeah, and I've heard that argument before, and I've even made that argument, but then I think, a-holes have money too, so it never...
It's true, it limits it. Also bots, though, too. those gold farmers.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It seems like a problem that's always prevalent no matter if it's a paid subscription or not. And like for example, I've played WoW, I've played Guild Wars 2, I've played Lord of the Rings Online, and no matter whether it was a subscription or a non-subscription, there's always the a-holes. There's always the fine people, It's just it comes with the territory of it. Just the only reason obviously I would like to not have the paid subscription is because this is a game where I'm going to go through, I'm going to complete all the content, and then I'm going to stop for a while probably to let some patches come in for more content and stuff like that, just to do with my friends, And I've always hated to leave the game sitting there with a paid subscription, like I'm not using it. I know it feels like it's going to waste. And I love the fact that even today I can still pop into Guild Wars 2 and just play it without any sort of, without having to whip out the credit cards. It's a good feeling.
Now, here's the system I want to see, and it's a hybrid system. It's a buy-to-play system, so you buy the game, and you can play the game as much as you want, no subscription fee. But you have the option to pay a subscription fee, and that'll give you options to other features, like maybe extra XP bonuses, boosts to gaining XP.
Oh, but that's a play to win, though.
Not really, because Guild Wars 2 has it all the time.
I know, and I didn't like that.
But you can also get it in-game as well without it. Another thing is maybe early access to new content that came out. So maybe you have a week to play this before other people can.
Yeah. And I totally see what you're saying.
Maybe a discount to like some kind of in-game store or something like that. Just things that make it worthwhile to have subscription, but totally optional.
And I would much rather go that way, because I really think that it's not optional, you have to pay a subscription model. I really think that's dying and that's going by the wayside. MMO after MMO has released and proved that really WoW was something of an anomaly. It's something that just is not going to happen again. What I would like to see, and I think this would be made easier with the consoles now, is the base game, you pay the money, say $60 or whatever, $50 for PC. You pay the money, you get the game, that's it, you're set to go. Any patches, any new content that they release, they could release as DLC now and just charge extra for that. It would work flawlessly with the console players, and PC gamers could do that too, I've paid for DLC on PC plenty of times, and I would be willing to, once I beat my content that I paid for, whip out the wallet and get something actually, that I could play in that very moment, new content.
And like you were saying with the whole like buying DLC and stuff, Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars pretty much did that. I mean, on a much grander scale as they released like a full game every year.
Yes.
But just think of that, if they did that at like maybe a smaller version and did that like every quarter or every month or something and just charged a few bucks for it, I would do it for like more content and stuff.
Sure, I think the raiders and the PvPers would do it just to get new whatever dungeons and maps, whatever. And I think it would be excellent for all of the countless Elder Scrolls fans out there who are playing this game to play with friends, because I could totally imagine paying the flat price, going in, like completing all the content with a few buddies of mine, put the game down for a while. Oh my gosh, new Elder Scrolls content has come out. It becomes the never-ending Elder Scrolls game that you can constantly go back to with your friends, and that brings a tear to my eye. That would be awesome.
That's after the like 300 plus hours you spent exploring all of Tamriel.
Exactly.
With one character.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could talk about that like all damn day, literally.
Sure.
So let's move on to the next thing, and that is Paul Sage talks about soul gems being able to resurrect yourself and others without damaging armor. So there's two things there. One, soul gems used to resurrect yourself, or you can resurrect other people. The other thing, though, was that without damaging armor. So that means there is going to be some kind of armor degradation system.
So that's the first time that was confirmed, that
yes,
your armor will get hurt.
And so if you resurrected a way shrine or something, or you just, if they do keep the resurrect where you're at system kind of thing with a debuff, that is going to damage your armor. And you will have to go and repair your armor.
Yeah, I don't see many people getting upset about the damaging armor thing. I think it's great from an RP perspective, because obviously as you use your armor, it should start to degrade a bit. We saw that in Oblivion And Skyrim didn't have it, actually. You know, you just made armor and it lasted forever. This is great money sink for MMOs to get some money pulled money out of the economy.
And a lot of people don't realize that MMOs need money sinks. Otherwise, the money doesn't go anywhere and just keeps building. And
inflation happens.
Yes.
That's what happens, inflation. So, yeah, it's in a mechanism that needs to be there, and this is a perfect way to do it. It's a very lore-friendly, very, very honest way to have a money sink.
Being that there is armor repairing and stuff, possibly weapons, I'm not sure. But I would like to see that repairing armor and stuff, either have it go towards like armor crafting, to like build up your armor crafting if that's what you're going for, just as an added bonus. The other thing though I really, really want is to allow armor crafters to repair other people's armor, like on the fly. So like imagine, you know, you've had that experience where you have to wait another 15-20 minutes for someone else to go repair their gear because they forgot.
Yes.
And if there's not one in the instance, then you have to wait, you know, for them to go to the nearest town and then come back, which is a pain in the ass unless you have a warlock, of course, and wow. Anyways, so to allow an armor crafter to do that, be it plunk down some kind of anvil or whatever system they're using for repair, or to like have some kind of consumable that will repair your armor, however they want to go about it, just allow armor crafters to do that.
Just a briefcase with an anvil in it. Pull it out, take your little hammer, your little mallet, hit on it a few times, and I guess there would still be a money sink, right? Money would have to be spent in order to do it. Yeah.
Be it money or just some kind of material to do it. It also just kind of evens the playing field for other crafters, because you know you got alchemy. They have their reasons for being good in raids and stuff and dungeons because they have potions and stuff to hand out to people. You have the provisioner that can hand out food to other people to buff up the group. So to allow an armor crafter to also have a benefit for the whole group is also a good thing to kind of just level that out.
Sure.
And one of the last things I wanted to say is that you will have the ability to reserve guild names. They haven't gone into the system itself, and I asked them on Twitter, and they said that they can't divulge that information yet.
Okay, top secret.
Yeah, apparently they can't speak on that yet, or don't have the information yet. But I'm seeing some kind of like SWTOR system that they had.
Yeah, they'll have a section to their site dedicated for creating your guild, and they'll probably even have they might host guild forums on their website too, like SWTOR did. And I think it's very important, because on day one, you want to have all your crap in order guild-wise. Yeah. You know, guild leaders know this, and so, yeah, it would be welcomed.
All right, so that's pretty much the gist of the E3 stuff for ESO.
That's the news. If you wanted more about, again, like Kyle said earlier on, if you want more about, you know, the console stuff and our reaction to the fact that ESO will now be on consoles, we did have a special emergency edition released earlier on this week. So just at the end of this video, if you click the previous episode annotation, it'll take you right there and you can watch that. It's about 20 minutes long, and yeah.
Not the most up-to-date info, but we had like totally rushed because we were so psyched.
Go check it out.
And now it's time for our community segment. So let's answer some Q&As from the audience.
Yeah, no question of the week again this week.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Oh well.
I guess they ran out of questions to ask, you know.
I suppose. First one is from Graham Little in Australia.
Hey Shuddycast, big fan of your channel. My question is, in the lore, the Tribunal have already gained their divinity. We know that Almalexia will be part of the Ebonheart Pact. Will Vivek, Sothasil and Daggerthur play a role in this game, or will they simply just be mentioned and not seen?
They've been pretty secretive about this, right? Because this question has been asked in an article in Ask Us Anything.
Yes.
And they said they have important parts to play. The Tribunal is very attuned to the magical side of the universe, and they have a part to play in the Ebonheart Pact. What that is yet to be seen. I think that's exactly what they said.
So it's pretty much confirmed that they will be in there in some form, but as to how, we do not know yet.
Sure, and that's what makes it fun.
It's gonna be exciting. Next one from Rogdax. God, I can never say this guy's name.
Hello Shuddycast, it's me again, and I've got a few questions for you today. I've got 3 questions, so I'm gonna be brief here. Do you think that there's gonna be armor tier system in the game? Second question is, will the raids be requiring advanced tactics and preparations? And the third question is if the game's pay to play, how much you are able to sacrifice monthly to play it. So, keep up the awesome work, mates, and see you later.
So tier system. They have confirmed that there will be a progression system with gear, including weapons and armor. As to if there's going to be a tier system, it's not confirmed, but it's kind of implied. We do know that there's the whole color code system like you see in other MMOs, greens, blues, oranges, whatever. But there is going to be some kind of armor progression, so I'm going to assume there's going to be some kind of tier system. What was the other question? Rating. Will it have like tactics and stuff? And it's going to have a lot more tactics, I think, than just beating on the ankles of some great beast in some hall somewhere. Raids aren't going to be the traditional sense of, like we were saying, just a big group of people attacking one boss. It's going to be several small groups of monsters that you're all going to have to coordinate and attack at the same time. Otherwise, you'll just get overwhelmed by things. So the tactics are going to be different, but there's going to be a lot needed.
Yes, and you know what? I actually heard, I forget who it was, one of the developers in an interview, talking about the whole adventure zone, and I think it was in actually a GameSpot interview that I was watching. And what he said is that these adventure zones, he made it almost sound like what you're doing is assaulting like someone. So I almost picture like raids becoming this thing where it's basically a PvE version of Cyrodiil. That's what these adventure zones are. So you're actually assaulting like a keep of enemies, and you have to use tactics in order to take them all out. That's what kind of he alluded to. I don't know. Part of that is just my wishful thinking because that sounds really, really awesome. But yeah, I think raiding will become this thing where you are attacking multiple enemies, but not just these aren't trash mobs we're talking about.
Right.
These are enemies with tactics. They work together. They're even yelling orders back at each other. So you actually listening and keeping your headset on and hearing what enemy NPCs are saying will help you in your tactics.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see on how all this works out.
And the last one was, if it is a subscription-based model, how much would we be willing to pay? My firstborn child?
Yeah, in all reality, like I would say, okay, so 15 a month, that's always like seems to be the MMO number, right? That's the number they agree on in the boardroom is the
Outdated.
thing people will pay, and it's
Too much.
It's so outdated, yeah. Honestly, though, if it released with that, I would pay it. I would pay $15 a month to get my hands on it. But this is the thing. I would have to then feel like I'm getting $15 a month worth of content. A month. I need that. If I'm paying a subscription fee, that is for you guys to be releasing more content to me. So I really can't answer this question until I know exactly how much they'd be releasing on a monthly basis.
Alrighty. Next one from Sterling Jennings.
Hey Shoddycast, it's Sterling Jennings. I've got a two-part question for you about leveling and skill points. 1. Do you guys feel that ESO will level us only through quests and killing like in other MMOs, or will we also acquire experience through leveling our skill trees? And 2. Do you guys think that the skill trees will be like the classic tests, with 1 to 100, and places to put skill points after certain landmarks, like 25, 50, etc.? Or will it be a set level requirement, like 10, 20, 30, and so on? Thanks guys, and keep doing an awesome job.
So the thing with the skill lines, they are not like the perk trees of Skyrim at all.
It's different from Skyrim in that it's definitely got its own style. You know, you can morph abilities too, which I thought is super cool. Definitely look for something that's way more personalized and customizable.
All right, the first question I believe you asked was the gaining experience. Is it just through questing? Well, also keep in mind there's also PvP. And inside PvP, there's even more questing. So yeah, there's like a lot of questing you can do to get that, but there's also other stuff you can do as well to gain experience.
Yeah, I think it's basically on the borderline between like traditional MMO and like Guild Wars 2, because Guild Wars 2, you could level doing absolutely anything. And you didn't even do it intentionally. You just go out crafting, exploration, pretty much do whatever you wanted to do, and you were gaining experience for it.
Even exploration, which was the best thing.
Yeah.
Like, finding new zones and stuff like that and point of interests gave you a bunch of experience.
And I think that since that is like a keystone to what the Elder Scrolls is, they need to adapt that system. So let's hope when you walk into a new area or find a new location that's set aside for you, you gain experience for that, because sometimes I'm just like, screw the leveling, man. Let me go out and see what these developers have done with this world. I want to explore it and really feel it.
All right, and we're going to do one more for the sake of time. And I have to pick this one just because of his name, the Eggplant Killer.
Hey Shoddycast, I was just wondering, in the new E3 trailer at the 26-second mark, it shows people sitting in a chair. I was wondering if that's just for NPCs or if they're hinting that it's going to be for players too. I'm just wondering, that's a question I have.
I had to check this video to make sure, because we know they've been saying before that you're not allowed to sit in chairs, and it still seems that way, because what he's referring to, they are NPCs just talking to one another, and they are seated, but they are just NPCs.
The developers go out of their way to make virtual spaces feel like you're home away from home, right? They're like your second life in a way. And the Elder Scrolls Online is going to suffer big time with that because there's no player housing. So I'm feeling like a tourist in a world that I'm supposed to be a resident in. The moment I log out of the game, I no longer exist, right? I'm no longer a part of this world because I'm gone. There's nothing there keeping me. So anything where I can interact with the crap around me, it just makes me feel more rooted there, even if it's for a little moment. And I know I might be in the minority with that, but hey, there you go.
That's fine. I mean, to each their own.
Exactly.
I mean, if people want that, maybe they will go out of their way to put that in there sometime. So that's all the time we have for that. If you do have questions you'd like to send to us, send that to askshoddy@gmail.com. Just remember to keep it around 30 seconds, definitely not more than 45 seconds, just for time's sake. Also, try to keep it in a WAV, a WMA, or an MP3 format, because I don't like these weird formats. I don't like opening them up. It's
you guys get really
scary.
creative with the software you use to record these. Also, keep them to voice questions. So voice questions, go to askshoddy@gmail.com. Any text questions that are sent there will be ignored. Text questions are for the YouTube comment section, Facebook, and Twitter.
And to be honest, I answer so many of those text questions in text form. That's probably why I haven't been doing as many text questions on ESO Weekly.
Sure, if you get a text question, just expect a text response.
Yeah. Shall we go into our sponsors of the week?
Yes, let's talk about the ladies and gentlemen that make this all possible.
And there's tons of you guys this week. Good job. All right, so let's go down the list. We got a lot of them, and we need to burn through these, so sorry we can't just go, and the next one, and the next one. Anyway, first one from Mark Dixon. Thank you, sir.
Akatosh.
Matthew Weta. Mike
Thank you.
Putton. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then there, Mr. Cathandus Frostblade, once again. Timothy Ellis. Thank you, sir. Anthony Hathaway, who wanted to mention his guild and Minecraft server. It is Puegoable. Puegoable.com. We'll go with that. And Richard Jordan, thank you, sir.
Dragonborn.
Also wanted to mention his guild once again, obsidianbrotherhood.com. It will be an Ebonheart guild. Richard Jordan, thank you, sir. Paul Watkins, a definite RPer. He'd probably be your friend in game. The assassin has chosen a faction, Aldbury Dominion. An old friend of mine will handle eternal affairs. I can now also be reached on Twitter. My handle is @BowForHire. I'm also on the Shoddycast forums under the username of Blaze, as I wish to join the guild when the game goes live.
RP is so much fun, right? He starts with RP and then goes, by the way, you can reach me on Twitter. Great, I love it.
Donation from Martin Sagholin, who is our Norwegian Viking friend.
Oh, a Viking. Nord he is.
Josh Meha. I can never say his name. Thank you once again, and he also wanted to mention his Ebonheart or ebonscroll.engine.com EP guild. Ah, that was hard to say. Michael Patterson, who wanted to mention Sons of Sithis, a guild you can find on tessoff.com in the forums.
Good forums if you haven't checked those out.
Yes. Donation from Dean Valentine, who wanted to mention his Ebonheart Pact guild. Must apply. Low selection chance. Focuses on strategy and would rather have a good player than two mediocre.
Ooh, that's a challenge. I like that. That's like, oh, you can apply, but you're probably not going to get in.
Probably not going to make it.
That's a nice little tease. Not everyone wants to get in there. That's good.
Another donation once again from Geoff Trescott. Thank you, sir. Simon Hansen threw 2 donations in there. He's like, hey, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you again.
yeah. You thought I was done. You thought I was done. Boom.
He also goes by the name of Mitsurugi. David Harden, thank you, sir. Ben Hayes wanted to mention his guild, the Elven Master Race, PvP guild. And also, another one of his guild mates, Jacob Slapinski, wanted to mention Elven Master Race. They also have a new website, elvenmasterrace.engine.com.
For the queen!
And then once again, Mark Dixon, man, he's like, I'm going to throw you a donation in the beginning of the week, and then at the end of the week, I'm going to throw you 2 more.
Akatosh.
So thank you, Mark Dixon. And that concludes the sponsors of the week. If you would like to become a sponsor for the ShoddyCast channel, just head over to our website, shoddycast.com, and you'll see a donation button underneath our polls of the whenever, I guess, instead of the week.
Yeah, donations are greatly appreciated. They go directly back into the ShoddyCast for equipment and making your viewing experience more enjoyable. How do they get their guilds plugged again? What was the donation amount for that?
A minimum of $10, and you can promote pretty much anything you want, within reason at least. So if you have a guild, or you want to say you love someone, or will you marry me?
Oh, can we get I want a proposal here. That would be awesome. You know how legit our channel would be if somebody proposed, like, over a video? Gosh. Do it. So, yeah, I guess we have reached the end of this episode of ESO Weekly. Aww. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the ShoddyCast. Don't forget to like and share this video with everyone you know. No lore video this week. That's for next week. Tune in next Friday for the next episode of ESO Weekly. I have been Josh.
And I've been Kyle.
We'll catch you later.
Boy.